The way women feel about love,
Mm-hmm.
that's how men feel about love with respect. We personify love and identify love with respect. And if I'm with a woman who does not show me that respect, then I don't feel loved. Now see, if you're a selfish thinking woman, then you're gonna take offense to it and then talk about how a man is the problem and all that kind of stuff. Because that's what a lot of these platforms do. But if you really think about it, if you're trying to find out what men want and we're basically telling it to you, if you don't know how to operate in that, don't make it hard for the next woman who does know how to operate in that. Don't try to mess her up because you don't agree with the respect factor of men equating that with love, like how women equate romanticism with love.
Is it safe to say then that you don't like disrespectful women?
Well, yeah, I'm not disrespectful people, but we talking about women, yeah.
Right,
I'm like,
because she could still be feminine because she is feminine by nature and design, but she could just be a disrespectful woman.
Right, but that's not femininity though. See, being feminine,
it is femininity. It's just a feminine person, a female being rude in an all actuality.
I'm sorry, I have to disagree. Disrespect is a character trait that shouldn't be. We're adults. You shouldn't disrespect me at all, period. I'm not disrespecting you, don't disrespect me. Disrespect is not feminine, and femininity operates differently. If you are feminine, that has a lot to do with like the personification of you, right? But the femininity have certain characteristics that goes deeper than just what you look like on the outside. That goes with your personality, your character, how you were taught, raised, things of that nature. Now, you can still have femininity and still have a level of assertion with that femininity that does not come off disrespectful.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So this is the thing. If a man is telling you disrespect is something I don't tolerate, he's not talking about you being feminine. He's talking about the fact that he's a grown man and don't want to be disrespected because he's not disrespecting you. Those are just things you should just know. That's like human interaction one-on-one. You don't disrespect nobody.
I was raised by my mother. My mother is one of the most sweetest, most nurturing people in the world. That's my definition of femininity. So when I'm out here in the world and I am searching for a woman, or I'm I have my idea of what a woman should be, I'm going to measure that form of femininity. You know what I'm saying? The cooperation, the communication, the nurturing, the respectfulness. You know what I mean? Now, if that's not your quality, I'm not going to say you're not feminine. You're just not my type of femininity. You're not operating in the way that I prefer a woman to act.
JB, the gent, let me hear how you gonna put this together.
Oh, come on now. It's immaturity for me.
That's all I'm saying.
We just gonna go ahead and call a spade, man. Immaturity. I'll say everything. I agree with Rob though. But in a capsule, immaturity. I said before in previous podcasts that marriages are underrated and relationships are overrated. And I definitely agree with that. It's because of the way that society actually made it, and the way that people look into relationships. They coming in with an immature point of view. They all about themselves. They don't have communication values. They just it causes the overrating of the dating relationship and the underrating of marriages. You know what I'm saying? Because of that, you just being immature. It is clearly an easy option to get out of a situation that you're in. Especially in the country that we live in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even if it was on a legality point of view, it's a real easy way to do so. Your fault, your failure and attempt to do so and just try to have your cake and eat it too is showing the immaturity and the person that you are.
Youthful lust is something that we don't talk about.
Okay, we're gonna deal with youthful lust, lack of control, because when you're immature, you don't have self-control. So you're not able to go into the candy store and appreciate what you see without taking it any steps further. Like, I don't mind if my guy appreciates beauty, but to translate it and take it into another form of lusting over this woman, that's where the immaturity comes in, right? And the lack of self-control. Because if you're a beautiful person, period, everybody who has eyes is going to notice this thing. But where you take it from there is a matter of maturity versus immaturity / youthful lust. Right, Tay? Am I getting it right? Pull.
Oh, she did
it. So you can't be something you're not. I always say this. You cannot be something you're not. You can't act like it. If you didn't have an upbringing of someone that was a leader and you see those leadership characteristics without money, then you can't be that. You will always think the latter. You know what I'm saying? And so, yes, men can be leaders, you know, regardless of monetary value. You know what I'm saying? The leadership trait is an immeasurable trait. That's invaluable. There's no money to limit that can say that. If I'm able to run a household based on the monetary factor or the income that I have and have kids and a wife, and based on that, no matter what the trial and tribulation might come about in the household, if I'm able to maintain the central point of the household being a family, then that man is a leader.
Right.
I mean, even in a corporate standard, you know what I'm saying? Even in a corporate standard, a leader to a group will go ahead and, you know what I'm saying, distribute the assignments accordingly to what the people are able to do. He will take on the recompense of what happens according to what the operations is. He will go ahead and make sure that whoever's following him are, you know what I'm saying, beneficial to the goal at hand. He will go ahead and go through the issues during trying to make the goal possible and take them on with them. That's a leader.
Right.
You can have all of that without having that bag, quote unquote. The woman can have the bag, but still see the leader in the guy. That's right. Possible.
I mean, you see situations where the finances change. At one point in time, the wife may be making more than the husband. The husband may make more than the wife. You can't talk to him crazy because all of a sudden now you're making more money than him. Or you can't downtrodden her because all of a sudden you make more money than her. At the end of the day, the money still goes into the same pot. So basically what he's making is what she's making. What she's making is what he's making, because it's all going in together for the greater good, right? Absolutely. So that's what the whole thing is about. And a lot of times I think the misconception that comes along with submission is, well, the man leads. He's a leader. But in order to be an effective leader, you have to serve. You're a servant leader.
Ooh. Yeah.
So you're not leading from the front. You're leading from the rear. When we had wars, throughout history, when we had wars, you didn't have the colonel, the sergeant, the general, whoever was in charge, and I'm going to lead the battle from home, and the rest of y'all get out here on the battlefield and risk y'all life. Mm-hmm. They were standing right there in tow with their troops. And if that man lost his life, then he lost his life. That's what that was. So at the end of the day, it's not a dictatorship. Right? That's not how this works. So I think that's where that misconception comes from. And as women, our level of submission isn't based upon a husband's behavior. Because sometimes, to be honest, he may get on your nerves, but he still is your husband, right? So there's still an order of things that happen. And as women, as long as we are aligned and where we're supposed to be with our purpose, even if the man isn't at the target of where he needs to be, You stay in line, you stay focused, you do your part, you submit to God. God will put him to whatever position he needs to be in to switch it up. You're gonna run yourself stir crazy trying to get a man to where you want him to be.